Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being part of this session. So, I want to thank you all. It's been something of a whirlwind with this weather we have here in the Windy City. So, thank you all for joining me for this Learning Battle Cards webinar, getting to know the cards. So, we'll be talking about the learning battle cards. So I have an actual set of decks right here in my hand. They are really cool. We're gonna talk about what in the world are these? What's this deck all about? Let me make sure I have here my camera. So we'll talk about what that is. Getting to know the cards. So hello, a little introduction about myself. I'm Dr. Jay Fulgencio. I'm an educator, researcher, instructional designer, and of course, I've been in education for a while. I've been teaching both online and face to face. Done instructional design. Also, founder and president of Learngenix. So this is in a partnership with the Learning Battle Cards. So I am not the owner of Learning Battle Cards, but I am in partnership with them to help promote and help bring this about here in North America, especially here in the United States. So talk about that and what it's all about. So that is me in a nutshell. And I'll have my information more as well at the end of this to see how we can continue this conversation. So what is the learning battle cards and the tools and why you should have a set of deck on you, whether you're an instructional designer, whether you're an educator, uh, whatever it may be, if you are in training and education or such, any of that realm, you should have a set of learning battle cards with you by your desk or next to you. It is a awesome tool to have. So I'm holding in my hand. I'm holding the second edition. There's also first edition, but I'm holding the second edition, and I fell in love with these cards when I had the first edition many years ago. And I just could not I just really enjoyed learning about this and why you should too. So here is a little bit about the learning battle cards. It's a set of poker-sized cards describing various forms of learning. Um, of course, it includes, both the traditional methods, discussion, and such, and innovative forms of learning, such as microblogs. So there's about 110 cards in the deck, right? So there's 110 cards in here, right? So, and so there are, there's various forms of and of course, various forms of instructional design ways, right? And of course, you'll see acronyms. Here's an example you can see here in this picture. It's just what one card looks like. And the deck of each card is filled with additional information about the methods, right? And of course, we'll talk about that in this slide. So the basic gist of this webinar is just to talk about what the learning battle cards do, what the deck is all about. I'm not going to get into full detail of all the things you can do with the deck. That's maybe a conversation we could have aside. We can partner up or work together to do that. Just a little insights as what that's all about, what the learning battle cards is all about, right? And so how do we do the learning battle card method and what is about, right? So basically, the learning battle cards method, its goal is to expand and blend learning design mindsets, right? It's basically expand an educator's own tool set of methods, unleash creativity, right? It's to communicate the project and involve stakeholders. Well, the awesome thing about the learning battle cards is that it's both for individual and also to do part of a group. So that's the awesome thing about the learning battle cards that I like that it does, right? So for example, when you look at these cards, you don't necessarily have to do it with a group, right? I mean, it's great that if you want to, that's fine. And there are activities you could do with groups, but you can also do it by yourself. Like, you don't have to necessarily do it with a group in order to make these cards function, right? There's other tools out there where you have to be part of a group in order to do it, because it doesn't make any sense. But the great thing about these learning battle cards is that you can be by yourself and do this. So for example, we look at, if I'm got hired or I'm working with a company organization or an institution and said, hey, Jay, we want to redesign this course, right? Let's just say it's American federal government. You want to redesign the American federal government course for an online format, right? And what I could do is bust out my learning battle cards and be like, okay, let's look at, maybe we need to, we need to do some visuals, right? And of course, I'll bust out the visual card, right? And in this, right, what does it consist of the visual, and of course, what skills, knowledge, and all that process. And you can, maybe we need to do some visual in there, and take another card and see how we can do it. So that's how it releases your creativity, right? And so like, okay, maybe I could do creativity. Sorry, visual. Maybe I need to, keep looking at it. Maybe do some virtual world, right? And of course, that's how, that's the great thing about the Learn Back Coach. It unleashes their creativity. Again, you can do this by yourself or with, with a group of individuals if you're working with instructional designers or something else. Or if you are the instructional designer and you're working with subject matter experts, or vice versa, right? Mostly what, we want the instructional designer doing it, but that is the awesome thing about the Learn Battle Card method, right? And of course, it has learning experiences approach. So what the Learning Battle Cards does is has kind of the learning experiences approach. You're creating an experience for the learners, right? That's what the awesome thing about what the Learning Battle Cards does. It provides that learning experience for the learners. I will say that the Learning Battle Cards is mostly it comes more from an experience realm, right? So there was, these battle cards came from a method of interviewing individuals in the field, various educators and such, structural designers, and and asking them, what do you do in the field? How do you go about? What methods do you use? And it was just collecting information to design these learning battle cards. So it was from real experience on the field, getting that data, getting that information to come help design these learning battle cards. They're actually really cool. I can't brag enough about these cards. So some examples of learning experience, and of course that you'll see from these these learning battle cards, um, when we have a learning experience, as we all know, is there's comes various formats, right? Learn by implementing new skills, right? Learn by team solving, learn by people learn by themselves. People find problem solutions by analyzing, by doing things and receiving feedback from their managers. So there are different ways of learning. And what the learning battle cards will help you do is that, okay, you know, if I'm in this environment, right, how am I going to help these learners experience learning? Right, kind of cliche there, but how am I going to help them learn? Right, if I'm teaching, you know, people on the field, like if I'm teaching electricians, right, that learning experience is going to be different if I'm designing for learning experience for, typical undergraduate 101 course in American federal government. So what these cards will help you is like, okay, if I'm teaching electricians out in the field, right, out there, look at these cards. What learning experience do I have, and what can I do for them? What learning experience are they going to have? So looking at the card now, right? Each card, as you look, right, and I'm actually holding one right here in my hand too as well. So let's just get one, right? For example, let's do project, like I'm holding the project-based learning. I'm not gonna go look for this, this one right here in particular. But of course, the symbol in a given method, right, has the acronym, the name of the method, the icon, of course, the tag cloud, right? What the tag cloud is a set of terms that can be associated with the card. So for example, in my hand, I'm holding the project-based learning. So right here in the front, you'll see the cloud words. Some words associated with project-based learning include result-oriented collaboration, long-term on the job, reflection analysis, team planning, application, practice, challenge, right? All these things associated with project-based learning. So what each card, and the cool thing is each card has, words associated with this particular method, right? And so that is the cool thing about this. So if I'm doing project-based learning, I know, for those in the field, we know that when it comes to project-based learning, right, some things associated with this problem solving, practice, challenge, application, engagement, right? And that is the cool thing. So if you're working, let's say for example, you're the instructional designer and you're working with subject matter and a subject matter expert or other individuals, and they say, well, what goes with project based learning? What's project based learning associated with? You can say, well, look, these words right here are associated with project based learning, and you can, look in another one like a survey, for example, right? It has as well the cloud words. And looking at the front of the card, right? And now, right, it has a QR code in it. The first edition didn't have the QR code because when it first came out, QR codes weren't this huge thing. Now it's like, everywhere. But if you look at the card, you flip it around and you look at it, it includes, of course, the symbol anim and its usefulness, right? The recommendation of using that method at different areas of a learning design project. So where should I use it? Is this for skills? Is this for attitudes? It's knowledge, awareness, measurement, right? Specifics, right? Where should it be? The types of places the method is used in. For example, if I'm doing project-based learning, right, which is in my hand, it's self-learning with peer, synchronous, asynchronous, formal, right? The highlighted ones is places where it should probably be used. And of course, if you do the scanning of the QR code, it of course has some additional information where you want more knowledge about it. And of course, the power bars, right? So we show the power of the card defined with the reference. So the more powerful, it means just where we show the power of the card defined with a reference to the 5 practical areas. So how much power it has. Um, and so that is of course helping you with that. So of course, even more inspiration from each card, you can do, for example, activities with this. So for example, there's actually a movie one card, as you can see here. When you come up with this card, right, what can you do with this card? What kind of activities you can do, right? If, for example, if you're doing a movie, right, tell a story in the movie format. If you're looking for activities, here's what you can do with that card. Now, of course, movies don't always work for every single learning experience, right? It depends on what you intend to do. Now, are you going to use all 110 cards in your designing if you're doing the learning design? If you're the instructional designer, are you going to use all 110 cards? No, right? That's impossible. Like there's no class or subject that you can use all types of methods. Like you're not going to do second screen, you're not going to do survey, seminar, web conference, escape game, podcast, social bookmarking, and tutoring and so on and so on, all in one class setting, right? It's not really used for the method. So maybe you just use 1 or 2 cards when you're working with, for a particular learning approach, for a learning design of a course or whatever, or a web or something else, right? Or a webinar or a course, whatever it may be. So looking at an action, typical things you can do with the cards, look at inspiration for a given project. Again, using the cards to discuss a learning and design project with a client or stakeholder. You can use it to educate the learning and design team. So for example, if you are training instructional designers or people part of your LED team or whatever you may deem or reference them to, you can use these cards to teach folks the different ways for designing. And I think that's really great. So for example, if you're working with individuals, even if you are an experienced instructional designer, it's a great way to figure out new ways. I go, oh wow, I didn't know about what I could do with a chat bot, for example, or team coaching, or well, what can I do with algorithms, or shared workspace. So not only is it a great tool to educate your team, but it's also a great way to, when you're doing a project. So when you're working on a project or you're educating, it's a great tool. Again, so there's different ways what you could do with the learning battle cards. So this is just a quick. Now there are various activities that can be done with the learning battle cards, but this is just one. I'm going to show one way of doing it, right? And of course, this is with a group of people. You could do a new path, right? So this is an exercise to enrich existing or being a design project with new ideas, methods, or activities. So as you can see here, if you're working with a group of people, you can use these learning battle cards to do an activity with them. And of course, the timing. Now you can do it with, there's some other activities that can be done with the individual, but it's also great to do it with people. So this is just some ways of using the learning battle cards. Um, and we'd be more than happy to work together on using these learning battle cards, together. It'll be very fun to work together. If you want me to come out and work with your team, definitely be able to help you out with that. And so that's just a glimpse of what the learning battle cards is about and how you can do it. Again, look at these cards. You gotta love these. And I'm just holding some of them, right? And again, there's 110 cards with it, all various types of methods that you can use. Again, it's a very helpful tool to have and next to you when you're working on stuff for motivation, creativity. Because sometimes when we look at these, when we're as instructional designers and such, sometimes we just need new creativity, new ways to do things that we didn't think about. That's just new methods of doing things. And especially for group activities, right? It's just a way to do new group activities as well to spice up things. I'm pretty sure, the learning battle cards is something new for you, and I think it'd be very helpful for you guys to be part of and doing. So what's next and what to do? So you can definitely, to learn more, again, we're working with in partnership with the Learning Battle Cards. You can check out their website, learningbattlecards.net. They have a plethora of information on it. If you want a set of battle cards, shoot me an email so I can get you a nice code to purchase your learning battle cards. If you want to purchase battle cards for your entire team, that'd be great. Awesome. Shoot me an email. Let's stay connected for your next webinar, session, event, online or in person. We can do group activity, learning battle cards. I will say that if you do want to host an event together, work together, you must have a set of learning battle cards. So that's why you need to purchase it. You need to purchase a set of learning battle cards. Email me, and I can definitely get you a discount on that. Get you a discount on that. You're not going to get it if you go directly to the site, but I will definitely help you associate with you getting a discount. So if you want to host an event and such, you will need a set of learning battle cards because the session will probably be useless if you don't have a set of battle cards with you. And so they are physical, so you will need the physical cards with you. And so get in contact with me on doing that, and we're more than happy to do that. And of course, Learngenix is Learn Genix, right? So definitely thank you for joining this session. I definitely look forward to doing this again with you all. And so please reach out to me if you have any questions. My email there, and I look forward to speaking you all. And make sure you check out Learning Battle Cards. Make sure you check out Learngenix, www.learngenix.com. And I'll put that in the chat as well. So see you all next time.